Can you imagine a sumo colossus, with his immense strength and imposing size, stepping into the MMA octagon to face off against agile and versatile fighters? On the Sumo Spirit channel, we bring you the 10 best fights between MMA fighters and sumo wrestlers. Who do you think wins? A sumo wrestler with his enormous weight or a skilled MMA fighter? Let's find out the truth. Number 1. Royce Gracie vs. Akebono in the K1 Premium 2004. This bout, held under special MMA rules, was a David versus Goliath spectacle due to the weight difference. Gracie at 190 pounds against Akebono's 452 pounds. As soon as the bell rang, Gracie adopted a nimble stance, avoiding a direct clash with Akebono's brute strength. About 20 seconds in, when Akebono tried to close the gap, Royce dropped to the ground, luring the sumo wrestler in. Once on the mat, Akebono landed on top, using his 300-pound weight advantage to try and pin Gracie. However, he couldn't secure a full mount, and Gracie managed to break free. 2 minutes into the first round, the situation repeated itself, with Akebono crushing Gracie again. However, Gracie managed to hook a leg over Akebono's shoulder, initiating a transition to an omoplata. Royce adjusted his grip, ensuring his legs kept Akebono's torso immobilized while isolating his arm. Akebono had no choice but to tap out, handing the victory to the Brazilian. Number 2. Emmanuel Yarro vs. Keith Hackney in the UFC 3 1994. The clash between Emmanuel Yarro and Keith Hackney is one of the most memorable fights due to being one of the most lopsided matchups ever seen. Emmanuel Yarro, a former amateur sumo wrestler and colossal athlete standing 6 feet 8 inches tall and weighing an official 600 pounds, faced Keith Hackney, a Kempo karate practitioner measuring 5 feet 11 inches and weighing 200 pounds. Hackney moved quickly, landing a powerful punch that knocked the giant Yarro backward. He attacked on the ground, but Yarro grabbed his leg, taking control and raining down heavy blows. Hackney escaped just in time, and the two grappled fiercely. Yarro tossed Hackney into the cage door, shocking the crowd. When the fight resumed, Hackney threw a low kick, which Yarro caught, but Hackney capitalized, landing several punches that brought the giant down and overwhelmed him with strikes. Defenseless against the onslaught, Yarro halted the fight, unable to continue, and Hackney was declared the winner. Number 3. Tarō Akebono vs. Bob Sapp in Risen Fighting World Grand Prix 2015. This was a true battle of giants. Akebono, the legendary sumo yokozuna, weighed around 420 pounds at the time, while Bob Sapp, a former NFL player turned fighter and kickboxer, weighed close to 330 pounds. When the bell rang for the first round, Akebono took a defensive stance. Sapp responded with a flurry of wild punches, wide, uncontrolled hooks. Akebono absorbed the blows and kept pressing forward. This exchange, with Sapp throwing punches and Akebono pushing him against the ropes to return the attacks, continued for a while. At one point during these exchanges, the back of Akebono's head began bleeding profusely, likely from a misplaced strike by Sapp, requiring constant attention. When the fight resumed, Sapp unleashed another series of sloppy punches, some landing on Akebono's face and body, who simply advanced without attempting to dodge. Finally, during one of these breaks, the bleeding was deemed too severe, and the doctors recommended stopping the fight. After 2 full rounds, a technical decision was declared, awarding the victory to Bob Sapp. Number 4. Tarō Akebono vs. Hongman Choi in K1 2005. Akebono faced Hongman Choi, a towering South Korean fighter known as Techno Goliath, standing 7 feet 2 inches and weighing around 350 pounds. Choi's background in traditional Korean wrestling and rising kickboxing career made him a dangerous opponent for the retired sumo legend. From the start, both giants came out aggressively, trading blows. Akebono tried to close the distance, using his mass to press Choi against the ropes, while the South Korean moved with agility, landing quick strikes with his long arms. Akebono absorbed the hits, responding with heavy hooks to Choi's body, but his lack of defense caught up with him. After hitting the canvas in the second round, the sumo wrestler got back up but was soon overwhelmed by Choi's flurry of punches. Choi stunned Akebono again, knocking him down and securing the victory. Number 5. Emmanuel Yarro versus Daiju Takase in Shuto 1998. Weighing over 600 pounds, Yarro faced Takase, a Japanese grappler from Wajutsu Keishukai, who stood 6 feet tall and weighed just 168 pounds, creating a weight difference of over 400 pounds for a 3-round bout. When the first round began, Takase leapt into the ring with frantic energy, running and jumping around the perimeter to avoid and tire out Yarro, who advanced with slow steps. Yarro tried to corner Takase, but his speed was a clear obstacle. By 3 minutes in, he was sweating heavily and showing signs of fatigue. The round ended without significant exchanges. In the second round, a pressured Takase made the mistake of attempting to target Yarro's right leg for a submission. The move was a disaster. The American's weight brought him down, crushing Takase beneath his mass. However, Takase fought to free himself, shifting his hips and landing short but effective punches to the American's head. After several clear strikes, Yarro began to bleed and, dazed and unresponsive, tapped the mat in surrender. The referee stopped the fight, declaring Takase the winner. Number 6. Mariusz Pudionovski vs. Eric Butterbean Esch in KSW 14, 2010. Pudionovski, a Polish icon and 5-time World's Strongest Man champion, stood 6 feet 6 inches tall and weighed 260 pounds for this fight. On the other side was Esch, known as Butterbean, a former American super heavyweight boxer, entering the ring at 5'11" and an estimated weight of over 440 pounds. As the fight began, Pudionovski threw a couple of low kicks to Esch's legs. Butterbean responded with a left jab followed by an attempted right hook, but Pudionovski dodged the strikes. At 30 seconds into the first round, seeing that Butterbean couldn't match his pace, Pudionovski grabbed Esch's right leg and took him down hard. Once on the ground, Pudionovski moved straight into a controlling position, placing his weight on Esch's torso to pin him. From there, he began unloading a series of right-hand strikes to Butterbean's head. Butterbean tried to defend himself by raising his arms, but it was futile. At 2:15 of the first round, after taking several clear hits, Butterbean tapped the mat with his hand, signaling his surrender. Number 7. Taro Akebono vs. Don Frye in K1 2006. Frye, known as The Predator, was an MMA veteran with experience in UFC and Pride, standing 6 feet 1 inch and weighing 220 pounds, facing the massive 440-pound Akebono. Frye landed a jab-right cross combo early, but Akebono barely reacted, absorbing the blows without trying to evade. This continued throughout the first round. In the second round, Akebono grew more fatigued and dazed from the relentless headshots. His exhaustion set the stage for Frye to deliver a leg kick that sent the giant crashing to the ring. Seizing the moment, Frye quickly pounced, pressing his weight onto Akebono's torso. He unleashed a flurry of punches before locking in a guillotine choke. Akebono tapped out, and the fight was stopped immediately, with Frye claiming victory. Number 8. Peter Aerts vs. Baruto, MMA Fight 2015. Dutch kickboxing legend Peter Aerts, a 3-time K1 World Grand Prix champion, stood 6 feet 4 inches and weighed around 230 pounds at 45 years old. Facing him was Baruto, a former Estonian sumo wrestler with the rank of Ozeki, making his MMA debut at 6 feet 6 inches and weighing an official 403 pounds. Baruto wasted no time, charging at Aerts and grabbing him within 30 seconds. He executed a powerful Makikomi-style takedown, throwing Aerts to the ground with sheer strength. On the mat, Baruto maintained control, landing punches to Aerts' body and head until they were separated. In the second round, Baruto again took Aerts down and continued exchanging techniques. By the third round, Baruto's physical dominance was clear. Aerts struggled to stay on his feet and couldn't apply an effective submission. The judges awarded a unanimous decision to Baruto, securing his victory. Number 9. Baruto vs. Kazuyuki Fujita, Risen 2016. After his successful MMA debut against Peter Aerts in 2015, Baruto, weighing 401 pounds, faced Fujita, the 45-year-old Japanese veteran nicknamed Ole Ironhead, with a 15-12 record. Baruto charged forward with his massive frame, looking to trap Fujita in a clinch while landing knees, pinning him against the ropes. Fujita struggled to respond, trying to maintain distance and throw punches, but Baruto's speed and power overwhelmed him. The first round ended with no submission, but Baruto had control. In the second round, Fujita came out more aggressive, knowing he couldn't afford to give up more ground. He threw a jab-right cross combo to Baruto's head, but the Estonian absorbed the hits and cornered Fujita once again. Baruto landed several leg strikes that wore Fujita down until the fight ended. The judges awarded a unanimous decision to Baruto, securing his victory once again. Number 10. Taylor Tuli vs. Gerard Gordau in the UFC 1 1993. Tuli, a Hawaiian sumo wrestler, stood 6 foot 3 inches tall and weighed 410 pounds. Gordau, a Dutch kickboxer skilled in savate, measured 6 feet 5 inches and weighed 216 pounds. With a nearly 220-pound difference and radically opposing styles, this inaugural clash promised to be a brutal experiment to answer the UFC's foundational question: which discipline reigns supreme in unrestricted combat? Tuli charged toward Gordau with arms outstretched, aiming to grab him while landing a few strikes, but he was in for a shock. Gordau reacted swiftly, retreating and escaping as the Hawaiian fell, then delivering a devastating kick and hook to Tuli's head. This left Tuli bleeding and somewhat dazed. The referee stepped in, stopping the fight when it was clear Tuli couldn't continue. Gordau was declared the winner by technical knockout in a bout that lasted less than 30 seconds. As we see, in wrestling, MMA fighters easily beat sumo wrestlers despite their heavy weight. But if they were to fight in sumo wrestling, who do you think would win? How far can the limits of combat stretch when two such different worlds collide? The outcomes of these fights have left us speechless with victories that defy all expectations and matchups that remind us of the relentless intensity of this sport. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave your like, comment, and subscribe to the Sumo Spirit channel for more content. See you in the next video.